Annyeong Buzz. Okay, let's talk about something major in the K-pop world that dropped recently, and honestly, I'm still processing it. BLACKPINK's Jennie, yes, that Jennie, the it girl, fashion icon, and all-around global queen, just made headlines in the US music scene in a way that few K-pop idols have before. Rolling Stone, one of the biggest and most respected music magazines in the world, just dropped their list of the best albums of 2025 so far. And guess what? Jennie's solo album Ruby made the cut. Not only that, she was the only K-pop artist to make the list. Let that sink in. Out of all the releases from around the world, across genres, across cultures, Ruby stood shoulder to shoulder with albums by Lady Gaga, Drake, and Playboi Carti. Now, if that's not proof of Jennie's global influence, I honestly don't know what is. And here's what's even more exciting. Rolling Stone didn't just name-drop Jennie and move on. No, they analyzed her artistry. They praised her for reinventing the R&B-centric pop sounds that dominated the 2000s and 2010s, and even compared the emotional depth and style of Ruby to Rihanna's Anti. That comparison alone, that's huge. We're talking about one of the most iconic albums of the last decade. Personally, when I first heard Ruby, I knew it wasn't just another solo idol release. There was something really personal and textured about it. The production had that polished Western feel, but Jennie's voice carried this unique vulnerability. Like in Twin, you can feel the softness, but there's also this quiet confidence. It's very Jennie, chic, layered, and a little mysterious. So I want to know, from you, when you listen to Ruby, what track hit you the most? For me, like Jennie was a standout because it just screamed main pop girl energy, but without being generic. It gave me full-on, this is who I am, take it or leave it, vibes. What's even more impressive is that this isn't just Rolling Stone. Another American media outlet, Complex, also named Ruby as one of the best albums of the year. They praised her vocal diversity and how she finally let her full range shine. Honestly, we've always known Jennie could sing, but being in a group like BLACKPINK sometimes means you only get a line or two. This time, we really heard her. Not just her voice, but her artistic identity. Let's take a second to talk about that, because I think this solo moment wasn't just a career milestone. It was Jennie carving out her space as a serious musician, not just a K-pop idol. And the fact that international media is recognizing that, that's powerful. It's validation not only for Jennie, but also for how far K-pop has come. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, is this the beginning of Jennie focusing more on her solo music? Especially since we know she's going to be making a comeback with BLACKPINK in the first half of this year. Is this solo success going to influence her position in the group? Is she going to push more creative control? I'm very curious how this will play out. All right, let's pause here for a second, and I want to ask you, do you think Ruby deserved to be on the list? And not just from a fan perspective, but as someone who listens to music. Where would you rank it compared to other K-pop releases this year, or even Western albums? Because let's be honest, this year has been full of huge drops. BTS, New Jeans, aespa, 17, IU, and yet only Jennie made it onto Rolling Stone's list. That's saying something. And not to stir the pot, but I think this is going to reignite the solo stan wars. You know what I'm talking about. Some fans already say Jennie gets more spotlight than the rest, and now with Ruby being the only BP solo to hit this kind of critical acclaim, the comparisons are going to heat up again. But let me be real, instead of fighting over who's better, can we just appreciate the fact that BLACKPINK members are out here killing it in their own unique ways? Lisa, with her global fashion campaigns and solo deals, Rosé with her soulful vibe, Jisoo with her acting career, and Jennie now literally being mentioned alongside Rihanna. Like, how iconic is that? And also, major props to Jennie for doing this with a full-length album. That's rare for K-pop soloists, especially from big groups. Most solo debuts are short, maybe 3 or 4 songs, but Ruby gave us a body of work, a cohesive, intentional album. That's why critics are taking it seriously. All right, so let's dive deeper into what Jennie's success with Ruby could mean for BLACKPINK's upcoming group activities. With a group comeback reportedly scheduled for the first half of this year, it's interesting timing, right? Because on one hand, Jennie is riding a massive wave of solo success. Critical praise, global recognition, chart domination. And On the other hand, we've got Blink's absolutely starved for a full group comeback. So here's the question. How do you balance both? Can someone be at the peak of their solo era and still fully commit to a group comeback? Because we've seen this before with other groups, sometimes a member's solo career takes off so much that it unintentionally overshadows the group's return. And I don't mean drama or betrayal or anything, just logistics, time, energy, creative focus. Now, knowing Jennie, I think she's smart about her moves. She's strategic. I don't think Ruby was meant to compete with BLACKPINK. I think it was meant to complement what she brings to the group. Almost like a showcase of what she's capable of when given the freedom to explore more mature, personal, and experimental music. And YG, or should I say the Black label now, since Jennie's doing solo stuff under her own label, they probably saw the opportunity to really let her spread her wings musically. This kind of flexibility is rare in K-pop, but we're seeing more of it lately. And honestly, I think it's healthy for the longevity of idol careers. But what I'm really curious about is how Ruby might influence BLACKPINK's group sound. Will Jennie push for more R&B, more vulnerability, more creative input on the next BP album? Imagine a BLACKPINK title track with the kind of introspection we heard in Ruby. Would that work? Would fans like it? Also, can we talk about how this success is also a win for Korean pop music in general? Because Western media has a long history of either ignoring or underestimating K-pop. And now we have a K-pop female soloist being compared to Rihanna in Rolling Stone. That's a major credibility moment. But let me be real for a second. I know not everyone agrees with Rolling Stone. Some people think Ruby was too westernized, that it didn't have enough K-pop flavor. I've seen those comments and I get it. K-pop has a certain structure, the visuals, the choreography, the high concept MVs, and Ruby was more stripped back in some ways. More R&B, more mood, more minimalism. But maybe that's the point. Maybe Jennie's saying, hey, I can do K-pop, but I can also do this. And to me, that's not abandoning K-pop, that's expanding it. Taking it somewhere new, making space for different styles under the K-pop umbrella. So here's my question for you. Should K-pop idols be allowed to experiment this much when they go solo? Or should they stick to the genre that made them famous? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments because this debate always brings up interesting opinions. Also, let's not ignore the symbolism here. A Korean female soloist being recognized globally during a time when women in the industry are often underestimated or over-sexualized? That's powerful. Jennie has always had this image of being fierce, confident, cold even. But Ruby showed a warmer, more emotional side too. It showed us that Jennie's not just a performer, she's a storyteller. And while we're talking about storytelling, I want to point out something Rolling Stone mentioned that really stuck with me. They said Jennie reinterprets R&B pop from the 2000s and 2010s in an interesting way. That word, interesting, says a lot, because it means she's not just copying or paying homage, she's innovating. She's taking the foundation of that sound and turning it into something new, something personal. That's not easy to do, especially as a solo artist stepping out of a mega famous group like BLACKPINK. There's always pressure to either replicate the group's success or completely reinvent yourself. Jennie kind of did both, and that's impressive. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to ask you all one more thing. If Rolling Stone named Jennie and Ruby among the best of 2025 so far, who else do you think deserves to be on that list? K-pop or non-K-pop? Drop your recs in the comments. Let's share music and support artists who are pushing boundaries like Jennie is. And of course, we can't forget, this is only the first half of 2025. Imagine what could come next. Jennie's comeback with BLACKPINK, maybe more Ruby music videos, possibly Western collabs? Who knows? Alright, that's it for today's video. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching and sharing this space with me. And please, let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Tell me your favorite Ruby track, your thoughts on Jennie's evolution as an artist, and what you think this means for the future of K-pop. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives like this. Until next time, this has been Annyeong Buzz.